welcome to Next Up Haunted Adventures Reviews. This time it's not just me doing a review, it's Tony as well.
Ah! Hello.
And the review today is going to be on Lake Eerie Fearfest.
Dun dun dun.
Centered in Sandusky, Ohio, not too far from Cedar Point, and
Nope.
Cedar Point's Hollow Weekends.
Right.
They fall under the same months, obviously. So, I gave Lake Eerie Fearfest a rating of a 6 out of 10.
Right.
Which is pretty decent. I had a
Yeah.
lot of fun there. They have 5 attractions, the main one being Ghostly Manor.
Mm-hmm.
So I made a list of highlights and downsides. Some of the highlights they included, they had Shaky Floors, which I think might have been one of the first times I've ever experienced when you start walking and the floor starts shaking.
Okay.
I enjoyed that. They had false walls. They had props, a lot of props.
So with false walls, does that mean like there was a wall that someone could like put themselves through, as far as like a rubbery type wall or something?
Usually drop down walls and
Okay.
walls that sometimes will separate you from party members.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, they had props. They had like body bags hanging up that would be moving and whatnot.
Scary.
They had some good animatronics.
Right.
They had some good misdirection along with the drop down walls. They have stuff that you pay attention to.
Okay.
They had a couple places that were really dark, so it's hard to see, which made it good for someone to kind of jump out at you.
Right. Right.
And their ambiance with the sounds and everything was good to cover up anything that the animatronics may have made that wasn't desirable to be heard.
Okay.
And before you got to get your tickets for the haunted house, you had to do a walk-up. So it was like a mini haunted house to make sure you can make it before you buy your tickets.
Oh, okay.
Which is the only time I've ever seen anything like that done, and it was really nice. And it still scared some of the people I went with, which was also great.
Good.
So one of my memorable experiences with this is some of the actors will hide in the porta potties that they have laid out. And one gentleman was going to use the bathroom.
Right.
And the actor we knew was in there.
Oh no.
And he jumped out, and I think the guy may have pissed himself.
No.
Yeah. It was really funny, and I hope he didn't pee himself, because that's really
That would
annoying
be
to take care of.
terrible.
But it was really funny. They have a lot of good fun out there.
Well, yeah. I mean,
And I really enjoyed the haunt.
I mean, I would imagine that you'd have to have some sort of a break in the monotony as far as that goes. So, like, I mean, yes, he's still scaring somebody, but he's scaring somebody in a very strange situation where
Yeah.
he's trying to go to the restroom. Well, let's scare him in a porta potty instead of in the haunted house itself.
Not part of the main haunt, guys.
Not part of the main haunt.
So,
That would be weird to have a porta potty as a main haunt.
yeah, that'd be disgusting.
That would be gross.
I've had sometimes actors will get carried away, or maybe it's part of the job, is to scare people in porta pots. I remember I was in one time, and there was an actor outside shaking it.
That's not
And
okay
I'm just like,
either.
oh, it's not really okay, but it's happening, so I'm not scared, but I'm just kind of scared that you're going to push it over.
I wouldn't be in that situation. I'm a bigger gentleman, so like shaking it around like that, I'm gonna freak out, and I'm gonna like pin my hands and feet up the sides of the walls and be like, stop shaking it. But for you, you're a lot more petite. I'd be afraid of it tipping over on you and bad things happening after that point.
Yeah, I don't really want to be covered in anything like that.
And yes.
So, they did have some downsides. So the main haunt was really good.
Right.
And I wouldn't mind going through it again.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe took about 20 minutes to go through the main haunt.
That's not bad.
And then they had, I believe, 4 others. They had 4 others as part of their haunt. And they weren't up to par with the rest of the... Like, the first one, Ghostly Manor, was great. But even going through Caged and Darkmire, they weren't up to par anywhere near Ghostly Manor's.
Right.
You know,
No.
they weren't where they should have been. It maybe took up to 3 to 5 minutes per for the rest of them.
Mm-hmm.
I think Quarantine took even less than that, though. Cage only took a little bit. We didn't go through the whole thing. Cage took us maybe 3 minutes, but we didn't make it through the whole thing, and only because we accidentally went out through the exit sign, because the strobe lighting that's all it was. It was just
very
cages.
disorienting. Literally
Cages and strobe lighting. We were very disoriented. We didn't know where we were going. We
Right.
accidentally went through the wrong area because we didn't see actors.
Okay.
And we saw one person kind of slip out through there, like, oh, that's the exit. That must be the exit. And I didn't see the exit sign. You know, I don't think it would have been any different anyway.
Was this like the first time that they've done this? Do you know, or was this like?
They've been doing it.
Okay.
It's one of the package deals. Like, you can pay $20 for the main haunt or $25 to go through all
of them.
All of them, which is not a bad deal.
No, yeah, definitely not.
So, they did have some downsides. So the main haunt was really good. And I wouldn't mind going through it again. Maybe took about 20 minutes to go through the main haunt or 25 to go through all of them. Which is not a bad deal.
No, yeah, definitely not.
So it's a good deal. It's just the rest of them weren't really up to par.
Right.
And they had very few actors in them and very little going on, whereas Ghostly Manor had a lot going on. And then their animatronics were pretty subpar. They implemented some of the similar animatronics Cedar Point actually uses. Okay. I recognized a couple of them. And some other animatronics that I've seen at lesser quality haunted houses. Though this one was a good one because Ghostly Manor did a very good job.
But I mean, like, you know, it's definitely secondary to Ghostly Manor. Like, everything else, those other haunts sound like it's just kind of secondary because you said that they were like 3 to 5 minutes to go through, and Ghostly Manor was about 20 minutes to go through, right?
Yep, and
but, I mean, you're spending, you know, $5 extra to go and spend like another 20 minutes throughout other places, so that's not terrible.
And they've been on Travel Channel before as being a pretty good. I mean, they're competing at Cedar Point. They have to make something good, so Ghostly Manor's going to have to be good because it is just haunted house, where Cedar Point has rides and all this other shows, everything going on. Years ago, they clearly were really good, but they might have just been judging the Ghostly Manor itself and not all of the haunts combined, which is fine. I'm not saying we didn't have fun in the rest of them. Cage didn't really have fun in because it was just strobe lighting, and I don't really enjoy that myself, but someone else might, and that's good for them. That is something they would enjoy.
Right.
But I would mostly, if someone who wants to go and maybe save, you know, a couple extra dollars, go through Ghostly Manor. You won't be wasting your time. It's a lot of fun. It's not the scariest haunted house, but it is very well done. It's very creative, and it still did scare a good deal of my friends. So you bring some scaredy cats.
Right.
You're going to get a good laugh along the way, too. But it is really nicely done, and I liked it. You don't need to go through the other ones, but again, if you want to see how things are done, go ahead. It's not bad. The other ones aren't terrible either. I've been through much worse. I just would rather go through Ghostly Manor again.
Like I said, it just seems like that Ghostly Manor is the entree, while the rest of that stuff is kind of like the appetizer towards it.
Yep. As I say, if you're going to go through the other ones, go through them first and then go through Ghostly Manor last. So that way you save the best for last, literally.
But, you know, it does sound kind of interesting, so I really want to see them kind of distract you enough to where they can put like a false wall between you and the rest of the party. I want to see that seems very inventive.
Yes.
So it's interesting to hear about that kind of stuff.
Some haunted houses do it better than others.
Right.
So, but this one was a good one. But that's all the time we have for this review. I hope it's helpful if you decide to go to this haunt. I enjoyed it.
It was helpful for me.
Is this a haunt that you would go to?
I'd check it out. Yeah, why not? Give it a shot.
You'd give it a shot? Would you give it a shot this year?
Maybe. I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see.
Was this review helpful for you?
It was actually pretty helpful because you know, you get a lot of this, you know, spooky scary stuff, but like you don't get the people that go through it. So when somebody else like kind of already has gone through it, they'll tell you the cool stuff that happens in this one, the cool and the stuff that happens in other ones. So like I said, it really would interest me to see how good the animatronic is or how good the lighting and atmosphere is. I think the big push for this one, though, for me, is literally the false walls.
Yeah.
I'd freak out at the moment of this happening, but that would be really cool to experience.
Yeah.
So
it's a good haunt to go to, especially for someone who's not necessarily very well experienced in it. Right. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. I didn't want to give away too many details about the haunts, so that way you still feel like you can go to it.
Right.
So yeah, I hope it was nice and helpful. Peace out.
Bye!